Picture a stadium in Munich, July 2024, the semi-final of a European Championship. A 16-year-old stands over the ball, 30 yards out, on a tight angle. The defenders back off. They think distance keeps them safe. It doesn't. He bends it, high, then dipping, into the far top corner. The keeper never moves. A whole continent leans forward at once, and in that half second, a question slips loose into the world. Here's the question, and it runs under everything you're about to hear. Not is he good? Everyone agrees he's good. The real one is heavier. Can a kid actually carry a World Cup on his back? Or does the weight break him first? Because what makes Lamine Yamal dangerous isn't only what he does to a defense, it's what he's been made to represent. And right now, in the summer of 2026, the whole world is about to find out the answer in real time. Start with the goal that broke everyone's sense of normal. Munich, the far corner. The keeper rooted to his line. Yamal was 16 years and 362 days old, the youngest scorer in the history of the European Championship. Not the youngest that season, in the history of it. Spain didn't just survive that night, they went on and won the whole tournament. Months later, the Golden Boy Award, given to the best young player on the entire planet, landed in the hands of someone who, a year earlier, was finishing what the rest of us would call high school. 16, a semi-final of a major tournament, the far corner, with the continent watching. Let that sit for a second. He came up near Barcelona, through La Masia, the academy that produced Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, and then the club did something it almost never does. It handed him the number 10, Messi's number, the heaviest shirt in the sport. Most players spend a whole career earning the right to even ask. They gave it to a teenager. That's not a squad decision. That's a prophecy. And here's why we're talking about it right now. It's the summer of 2026. The World Cup isn't coming. It's here. He's 18. He turns 19 on the 13th of July, which means for a few more weeks he is still, just barely, a teenager. And Spain walked in as the reigning European champions, one of the favorites, with Luis de la Fuente on the touchline and Rodri wearing the armband. An 18-year-old, a legend's number, a nation that expects to win it all. The clock is the story. It always is. But hold on, because a clock cuts both ways. One tournament, a handful of nights. That's all it takes to rewrite who he is in the public mind. Light it up and ease the air, confirmed forever. Go quiet for 90 minutes on the wrong evening, and the headline writes itself. Too young, too soon, too much. He doesn't get to be a kid having a rough game. Every touch is evidence in a trial about the future of the sport. That's a strange weight to hand someone who can't legally drink in half the world. And then the tournament actually started, and it humbled them. June the 15th, Atlanta. Spain's opening game, Group H, against Cabo Verde, a tiny island nation, fewer than 1 million people, playing in their first World Cup in history. On paper, it was a formality, the kind of fixture the favorites are meant to win at a canter. It finished 0-0. The European champions, one of the names whispered to lift the trophy, held to a draw by debutants in their very first match. They looked ordinary, flat, out of ideas, beatable. And the reason was sitting on the bench in a tracksuit, because Yamal wasn't fit, not fully. Back in April, he'd picked up an injury at Barcelona, and he'd spent the week since racing his own body back toward a tournament that wouldn't wait. De La Fuente said it plainly. He's fit, but he's not ready to start. So he came off the bench. And here's the thing that should stop you cold. The whole argument of this video, how much weight already rests on one kid's shoulders, Spain just proved it for us, by accident, on live television. Take the teenager out, and the champion stall. He isn't a machine you switch on. He's an 18-year-old rushing a half-heeled leg back into service to hold up a stumbling nation that, suddenly and badly, needs him. So now it's a race against the calendar. Saudi Arabia come next, and the plan, reportedly, is to ease him in. A cameo, a few minutes, no more, just enough to feel the rhythm again without risking the leg. Then Uruguay on the 27th in Guadalajara, the last game of the group, and the one Spain are quietly building everything toward, the night they want him fully fit in the starting 11, dangerous the way he was in Munich. Uruguay won't be kind about it. They never are. And if Spain get through, beyond the group wait, the knockouts, where the real test always lives, where there's no second chance, where one flat half on the wrong night ends your whole tournament. If Spain are going to be Spain again, they need the spark back, not managed, not eased in, firing. The favorites have already shown the entire world exactly what they look like without him. Now everything, the group, the knockouts, the whole campaign, bends toward a single question. whether an 18-year-old can give them what they look like with him at full power when it counts the most. And here's the turn. The riskiest thing about Lamine Yamal might not be what he does to opponents at all. It might be what the world is doing to him. The next Messi sounds like praise. It isn't. It's a sentence with no end. Every touch gets measured against the greatest who ever played. Every flat game becomes a verdict. He's 18, carrying a hamstring he can't quite trust, and a comparison that has bent grown men out of shape. That's the threat no camera catches. Not the defender in front of him, but the size of what's behind him. And this reaches past football. Every era has to hand the torch to someone. For years, the whole game has been quietly afraid that when Messi and Ronaldo finally walked off, the light would just go out, that there'd be no one big enough to take it. Yamal is the answer to a fear the entire sport was carrying without saying so out loud. That's why one teenager's career somehow feels like it belongs to all of us. He isn't just a player, he's the proof that the story keeps going. And we're watching, in real time, this summer, to find out whether a kid can hold the future of a sport in 2 feet, one of which isn't even fully healed. So go back to Munich, the boy over the ball, the defender stepping away because they couldn't picture what was coming. That's the whole thing, really. They backed off once and paid for it. But the harder question is the one these next few weeks are answering for us, game by game. Can he carry all of this? The number, the nation, the comparison, the clock, and now an injury and a stumbling team that needs him whole, without it carrying him. Nobody knows. Maybe not even him. The defenders in Munich learned exactly how close they were allowed to stand. The world still hasn't figured out how much it's allowed to ask.